So welcome once again to another episode of Dravo Vane. And have Sebastian here with us today. And I've got a question for Sebastian. Do you have any stories that you haven't told me?
Yeah, I got a lot of stories I haven't told you. Some involve stories I've heard from other people or military people that probably shouldn't have said it, or I got stories that involved us. Which one you want to listen to?
I know I like hearing the ones that involve Richie because they usually, for whatever reason, seem funnier.
Anything happens to Richie's funny. He deserves it. But I still love you, Richie, if you're listening. Oh, I'm sure you. Let me think of a story. You want a long, medium, or short story?
I would like to have a short story.
Oh, I got one. I'll tell you. This happened a few years ago. This happened right before I broke my back. So this was in 2017 on Maddie's private property that's an hour away from his logging property that everybody had that 2004 incident on, that or 2014 incident on, that we don't go back anymore. But this one, everybody's involved in this story, but the two people that it's mostly involved with is Richie and Levi. And for those viewers out there, Levi's the one that does not believe in Bigfoot, no matter what. Yeah. So 2014, we all had our little incident on that 13,000 acres on Maddie's logging property. So we're all now hunting on Maddie's private property, which his grandparents owned. There's a not log cabin house, but there's a old style cottage house that was one house. His grandfather, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, decided to build another house, but combine the two houses and make it one big house. All right. So if you're facing this house, and this house is literally probably 60 yards off the main 2-lane road in the backwoods of West Virginia. I won't tell you the county. But the front door and the gravel driveway faces the main highway. If you face the house, you'll have two front doors, because you can obviously tell they're two different houses, but it's one house. So the two front doors has two French windows on each side. So you got French window, front door, French window, then the divider of two houses, but combined as one. Then you have a French window, front door, French window. So you have two front living rooms. Then on the left side of the house, of the front room, you have a bedroom, two double beds. Behind it, you have a door that leads into the bathroom. And that bathroom has another door, a sliding door that leads into the kitchen. And that kitchen has two doors. One leads to the outside towards the driveway, and the other one leads into the front room of the house on the right, where the front door is at. So you have two front doors. You get the gist? Yeah. Okay. And then you have an upstairs, and upstairs is a big one room with 20 single beds. This is a hunting lodge. All right. Where Maddie, his bodyguards, we all go hunting. So you have 20 single beds upstairs. It's like a barracks. Down below, you have two double beds to the left side of the house facing it. So we're all there hunting. Jeremiah's walking around. We're meeting Maddie and his bodyguards, Yuji, who's Japanese, Chief, who's Apache Indian, Blaine, who is a gay sniper in the army. You think he's gay. He's got the mannerisms of being gay, but he's totally straight and he's got two daughters. Class act, badass guy. He looks like anybody that's into professional wrestling. He looks like Simon Gotch, but more masculine. He's got that curved mustache. All right. And you got Alexander the Russian. We call him the polar bear. They're all his bodyguards. Jeremiah's looking around. Everybody's playing cards. Jeremiah's looking around. Kid's like, Sebastian, come here. I'm like, why? He goes, see these windows? I'm like, yeah, I see them. He's like, they're bulletproof. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, they're bulletproof. I was like, how do you know? He's like, listen, dude, I'm special forces. Humvees, armored personnel, Humvees. These are bulletproof. Well, Chief overheard that, and Chief comes over and goes like, yeah, they're bulletproof windows. He goes, even these front doors, that look like wood. They're actually blast-proof doors. They're graded at a certain blast. I'm like, why is this, no offense, crappy-looking house got bulletproof windows and bulletproof doors? He's like, well, Maddie's a high-value target for ransom and hostage. That's why he's got his, security. No, nobody's going to take him. I was like, okay, I get it. Billionaire from a billionaire family. I totally get it. And down below the house is a cellar where they keep all their moonshine. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. So later that night, so I'm going to speed it up. So I just wanted to give you the setting of the area. So everybody's there. Everybody that you know, Elijah, is there, including my uncle, my cousin. All right. And there's 18 of us there, maybe 19 of us. I think there's 18, but we're just going to go with 18. All right, I'm not going to get specifics. I'm trying to speed this up. So everybody's sleeping upstairs. Richie's like, I'm sleeping downstairs in the one double bed in the corner here, which is facing one of the French windows, or it's actually the side of it is bumping up to the French window on the far left corner of the house in the first room, right next to the front door, the first front door. And it's got a huge porch, covered porch, that goes from corner to corner of the front of the house. So he's like, I'm sleeping down here because A, it's closer to the bathroom. B, I don't want to hear y'all's burping upstairs, you're snoring, and you're farting because you guys are sick. And we're like, okay, whatever. So we're all waking up 5:15 that morning because this is the week of Thanksgiving, all right? So this is 2017. 2:30 in the morning, I hear Jeremiah smack, or I hear him like, hey. I'm like, what? He smacks me. He's like, I'm going to go take a shit. I'm gonna leave a gift for Richie. I'm like, oh, God. And you hear a few guys chuckle because they're still up. And he's like, make it a good one. So Jeremiah goes downstairs, and you can hear Richie's like, make sure you shut the door. I don't want to smell that. So Jeremiah goes in. You can hear Jeremiah grunting like, oh, this is so gooey from downstairs. And you can hear Richie like, just, when you're done, shut the door. I don't want to have to smell it. You guys are sick. And, Jeremiah's like, oh, God, I need a coat hanger. It's not coming out. It's so gooey. And you can hear him blowing his O-ring from all the way upstairs. It's that loud. It's like White Castle shits. So you hear the commode flush, and you hear Richie, shut the door, Jeremiah. I don't want to smell it. So Jeremiah shuts the door, comes upstairs, and he starts laughing. We're like, I was like, what's so funny? It's like, it's brewing. It's going to come down the creak of the door, and it's going to filter in his bedroom. And we're waiting for Richie to overreact, but Richie's not overreacting. So it's maybe like 10 minutes later after Jeremiah comes back upstairs. And we hear Richie talking to somebody. It's like, all right, guys, I'm not playing this joke. You're not going to freak me out. We're not on the logging company. We're on his private property, so y'all not going to freak me out. So you might as well get off the front porch. I'm like, what the hell? Who's on the front porch? So me and Jeremiah popped up, and we're starting to count heads. And Chief, Maddie's bodyguard, the Apache, pops up because I already done the head count. Everybody's accounted for, and nobody else is showing up. So I don't know who the hell he's talking to. And we just hear Richie downstairs like, damn it, I said I've had enough of this bullshit. I'm trying to sleep. And you hear him get out of the bed because, all the floor squeaking. He goes around, and by the front door with the French window to the right of that front door from the inside is where Richie's double bed is. It's pressed up against that window. He turns on the light. At the time, we don't know this, but when you go downstairs, you know what he's done. And out of nowhere, we hear Richie with this god-awful scream, just like, oh, shit! And you hear a thump, thud, and next thing you know, you hear gunfire. Pop, 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 pop. Everybody upstairs jumps up. Me being a civilian, and my dad was a colonel in the Army, and I've got Jeremiah, who's a special forces operator. And then you got Maddie's 4 bodyguards that I know of 2 have served the military, but I don't know about the other 2. To see these guys jump up out of their beds with weapons that I can only dream of buying and owning, that they have permits for as bodyguard protection. We're talking MP5s and shit like that, like Secret Service stuff. They jump up, running downstairs, clear, clear, clear. And Jeremiah's down there with them. And you hear Jeremiah saying clear. We all come down, Logan, Levi, I think Gordo was even with us. And my uncle and my cousin, we all start going down. Tristan starts filtering down. And we just can't believe what we're seeing. And you look and at this window that's bulletproof. What you see in the movies is literally what they do. Bullets hit them and leave white stains with little spiderweb fractures but don't penetrate it. And you see the slugs on the ground, on the hardwood floor. And this window is just like pelted with 15 little white fractured window spots. And you can see Richie still pointing his Beretta at the window, pulling his finger, the trigger. And he's, oh Jesus, 15 rounds. And he's like, it was at the fucking window. It was at the fucking window. It was at the fucking window. Just freaking out. We're like, what? He goes, what do you think? Bigfoot. And we're like, what? No way. We're not on his logging property. So Chief goes around to the side door. It's in the kitchen where the driveway is. And he's walking out. And Alexander and them's turning on all the security filter lights, which is like mind-boggling to see, like a secured place. When you look at it from the outside, you think of, okay, it's nothing major. But on the inside, they got a security system like we couldn't get. So we all unlock the front door, and Chief gives us a thumbs up. UG gives us a thumbs up. Let me tell you about UG. All right, UG uses a samurai sword. Where everybody else uses weapons, modern day weapons, this son of a bitch has a samurai sword. Because if you don't understand UG, he's Japanese. All right. He reminds you of the guy from the Predator movie with Predators, the Yakuza dude. All right. But he's not Yakuza. So he's out with Chief, and Chief and UG are real close. So you got an Apache and a Japanese that are real close. So they're on the front porch. They're like, come on out. So we come out. Sure enough, on this front porch, and it's raining that night. Not a heavy rain, but raining. So you got a little bit of mud out there. Sure enough, on the front porch, you see big, huge, muddy footprints. Bear footprints, not bears, but a bear human-like footprint. Stepping up on the porch from the driveway, walking, and it's like 3 strides to get to the window where Richie's at, where it'd take us 18 strides, 18 steps. And sure enough, you see 2 footprints facing the window, and on the window, you see 2 handprints and a smear of a nose and a mouth, like it put its hands up and it's pressing its face up, and you see like its lips and nose, and we're like, you gotta be kidding me. So Chief goes off into the dark alone. We're like, where's he going? He's like, Meg's like, don't worry about him. Chief's got it taken care of. Richie's still inside, freaking out, panicking. Tristan's in there, and I'll tell the guys, like, don't tell Tristan what it is. Just tell him we're pranking Richie, and they know why, because my son knows he'll never go back. So about 10 minutes later, Chief comes back and said, yeah, I went up the mountain through the Rocky Bluffs, and it's long gone. He said, I'm not going past the Rocky Bluffs. And Maddie's like, I get it. Everybody inside. Nobody went to bed that night. And Chief's like, and by the way, nobody's leaving before dark. We're all going out at daylight. And we're like, Richie's like, no problem, I'm cool with that. He goes, by the way, I'm doing the triple buddy system. And we're like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm hunting with Sebastian and Jeremiah. I want everybody in eyesight. These things exist. I saw it. Sebastian's not lying. They do exist. And Maddie starts laughing during this whole time. And Richie's just like, I'm telling you, these things exist. There was one peeping Tom in on me. So this is 8 o'clock in the morning, and before we all leave, because we're all either by our ATVs or side by sides, Chief's like, we're gonna do an Apache ritual. So basically, he took this seashell, put some incense on it in it, and started lighting it and smoking, and took this big huge feather and going up to each one of us, taking a feather, stroking the smoke and blowing the smoke in on us, and we have to inhale it. He's like, I'm giving y'all good medicine. And, we're like, okay. And Levi, who is the non-believer in our group, was like, I got to do this Indian ritual. And the Apache chief's like, if you want to live, you will. He's like, oh, okay, I'll do this just to appease you all. So he does it. So we all go out hunting. So Levi goes, he's the farthest one from us, but he's the closest one to the house. And he's hunting probably 200-300 yards from the house. Me and Jeremiah are hunting near Richie. Richie, we're all in eyesight. That's the way Richie wanted it. And you can still hear the ATVs and side-by-sides going off through the hollers, people filtering out, getting to their spots. At 8:30, and we're not even at our spot 10 minutes. And you got to remember, Levi is the closest one hunting to the house, so he's at his spot before anybody. You hear off to our 11 o'clock, boom! Boom! So I'm looking at Richie, and Richie's like looking at me, and Richie's got fear in his eyes, like, what's Levi shooting at? And I'm scoping Jeremiah, and Jeremiah is giving me thumbs up. It's like, everything's going to be all right. Then on the radio, because everybody's got radios. On the radio, you hear Levi's like, hey, man, I just shot one. I might need assistance. Because it was a big 11-point buck that I shot. I'm going to go field dress it, but I might need some assistance. So it's about 10 minutes after that. Levi's on the radio. I was like, yeah, guys, I'm going to need some help over here. I shot this thing, and I heard it crashing and dying. I can't find it. So I scope Jeremiah, and Jeremiah's giving me a thumbs up. So we get on the radio. It's like, yeah, me and Jeremiah and Richie will come get you. Well, probably 10 seconds later, on the radio, you hear Logan's like, yeah, I'll come and help you. I got eerie feeling where I'm at, like I'm being watched, so I'm getting the hell out. So, yeah, I'll come and help you all get his deer, then I'm going to go home. So, Logan met up with us at our spot. Richie's uneasy, Logan's uneasy. Logan's our sheriff, buddy. Logan's like, I'm right, guys. Richie's like, you know what? Logan, you going back home to Kentucky? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to ride with you. I'm just going to go back into the house, Maddie's cabin's house, and pack up. He's like, fine, no problem. We'll go help Levi find the deer. So we get in my side-by-side that I let Logan take. Or I'm sorry, my ATV that Logan took. So Richie is now taking my ATV that Logan had. He's going back to the cabin. We're hopping on my side-by-side. So you got me, Logan, and Jeremiah going towards Levi. We're looking around. We're with Levi now. We're looking around. Can't find shit. But you can see where he shot it. You can see the blood trail where it went. You can see the blood trail where it crashed and slid about 10 feet and came to a stop at a tree. You don't see anywhere else this deer went at. And there goes Jeremiah doing his tracking skills, and he's looking around. And Logan's got his hand on his sidearm now because Logan's freaking out. And I'm like looking around and I'm watching Jeremiah. Now, Jeremiah's going down the ravine below us. All right. And I can see Jeremiah looking around, and I can see Jeremiah put his hand on his head shaking. And he's got his back to us. And I can hear Logan's like, oh, God, it doesn't look good on Jeremiah. Jeremiah turns around and he's like shaking his head, and he's pointing at the side-by-side. I know Jeremiah enough. That means let's get the hell out of here. Let's get to the side-by-side. I see something I don't like. So we get into the side-by-side. As we're getting to the side-by-side, over the radio, we hear Richie in a panic and frantic saying, uh, everybody, I need you all here at Maddie's place ASAP. Oh God, please hurry up and get here. So I get on the radio like, what's going on? He's like, you won't believe this. Oh dear God, please somebody hurry up and get here. And he's like whimpering in his voice. All right. You hear Maddie and everybody else get on the radio. Then you hear Chief like, everybody, no matter what, meet at Maddie's place. And Tristan's hunting with UG and Blaine. So I'm not worried. And they're hunting near my uncle and my cousin also. And so everybody gets on the radio like, on our way, on our way. And Chief's like, everybody come through the buddy system. Come back with somebody else. So we're driving on the side-by-side back to Maddie's house, and Logan's like, Jeremiah, what did you see, buddy? What did you see? And, you know, Jeremiah's driving, and I'm in the back. I'm letting Logan up front. And Jeremiah looks at Logan's like, do you really want to know? And you just see Logan like, oh, God, please tell me these things aren't on this fucking property. And he's like, yeah, buddy, they are. He's like, I'm done hunting in West Virginia. So we get back. We're the first ones back to Maddie's place. And there in the front, we can just see a despondent Richie. Richie's very visibly upset. Kind of just like hysterical upset, just like he's looking at us, he's walking over to us, guys, and he's pointing to, you know, towards the front of the house. He goes, guys, you won't believe this. Sure enough, we get there. And don't forget also, Levi's with me in the back. I forgot to add Levi, my bad. Levi, if you're listening, I'm sorry. So me and Levi in the back. And this whole time coming back, Levi's like, these fucking things aren't real. You guys are trying to prank me. On the front porch, by the window, that the Bigfoot was there early in the morning looking in, that Richie shot at from inside, laying in a bloody mess a foot from the window is a 11-point buck that has its head twisted and ripped and torn off. Just above the shoulder, but at the neck level. And hanging out about 6 or 8 inches out of the head and the muscle, or the neck and the muscle, you see a vertebrae. Like it was corkscrewed, twisted, and power and might pulled it off. And Levi's like, holy shit, that's the deer that I shot that we can't find. And Jeremiah is like, and you're saying these things don't exist? And Levi's like, you guys are pranking me. Ha, ha, ha. Richie, I almost felt bad for you. Now here comes Maddie and everybody. And they're like, what's going on? And they're looking at this deer head on the front porch, right by the window. So Chief's like, don't touch anything. So Chief comes over and starts investigating. He's like, whose deer is this? Levi's like, I shot that fucking deer about 30 minutes ago. 600 yards that way. And we're all like looking at it, and you know, Chief's like looking around. He's like, yeah, that's what I thought. And we're like, what did you think? And everybody's like, what did you think? He's like, you can take this as one of 3 ways. The way I take it is, he's sorry that he frightened you, and that he knows that we're out here hunting for trophy, and he's offering, you know, an apology to you that here's the head. I know y'all hunt the head. Here's the head. I'll take the meat. Sorry for spooking you last night. The Apache told us this.
It was like leaving the head, but thank you very much for the meat.
Yeah, it was basically, I'm sorry I scared the shit out of you guys last night. Here's my peace offering. I'm taking the meat, but here's the head, because I know you all like hunt for these things sticking out of their head. And with that, hearing an Apache say that to us, everybody packed their shit up and left, with the exception of me, Jeremiah, Tristan, Levi, and Maddie and his guys. So Logan, Richie, my uncle and cousin, Gordo was with us. Gordo packed up and left. I want to see there's a few other people. I can't remember. But they packed up and left. So Levi was going to go take the head, and Chief's like, no, we'll bring it back to you when we come back. I need this for evidence. And it's like, evidence for what? So Maddie's like, hey, Sebastian, come talk with me for a second. I was like, yeah. He's like, I know you're a Bigfoot enthusiast and you watch all these people on YouTube and television. Is there anybody you recommend or suggest that I could get to come here and look at this? And I gave him 3 names of people I like watching I think are reputable. He's like, fine, I'll get him out here right now. I was like, how the hell are you going to do that? How do you even know how to get a hold of him? He's like, trust me. Money talks, bullshit walks. I'm like, okay. Sure enough, out of the 3 names I gave him, he called the one I suggested, which I can't tell you, and you know why, or I know you don't know why. I'll tell you why here in a second. He called that person, offered them a few $1,000s to take time to fly out that he already has his private jet on the way to pick him up before he even said yes or no. Offered him, I think, $15,000 to show up. And he goes, I got evidence for you to look at. So a person that I love, that I watch on YouTube and on these TV shows that I have respect for, shows up. We tell him what happened. He's looking at the evidence. He's taking plaster casts of the footprints. He's examining them. I'm saying, oh yeah, these are legit. These are actual Bigfoot footprints. They're not hoax and all this and that. Oh yeah, all this and that. By the way, I don't believe a word of your all story, but I believe your evidence. He saw the footprints on the porch. Chief showed him where it left, where the deer was shot, how it came there. Saw the bulletproof windows being shot from the inside by Richie. He didn't believe any of our story, but believed the evidence. He said, oh yeah, I believe the evidence. I don't believe your story. And he was kind of disrespectful to Maddie. And Maddie's like, thank you for your time. Looked at me right in front of him and goes, this guy's a disrespectful piece of shit. And I never want these motherfuckers on my property again. I give them this evidence and ask for their expertise. And they come here, they believe the evidence, and they want to take the evidence so they can use it on their show, but yet they're disrespecting, they don't believe our story. He goes, you're going to sign this piece of paper, which is a non-disclosure. You talk about it, I'm going to sue you, and you'll never have a show. I'll make your life pure hell. And he looked at me and goes, we can do whatever we want Bigfoot on here, but I'm not calling these cocksuckers. This guy ruined it for the others. And on this property, there's Bigfoot activity. On this property and on the logging property. And the funny thing was, I forgot to tell you, the night before, or the morning before, you know, when after Richie shut the window, Maddie goes, oh yeah, they're on here too. And we're like, what? This is why we left the 13,000 acres to come hunting here. We didn't think they were here. You knew they were here? He's like, yeah. He goes, what the hell made y'all think they weren't on here? We're only an hour away from my logging property. You don't think they don't migrate over here? He goes, but the ones here are less violent than the ones on the logging property. And we're like, as if that fucking helps. And it's just like, Richie's like, are you serious? He goes, yeah, I've just been raised around them. I'm used to them. I figure y'all know that. I'm like, no, that's why we're coming here. He was like, my bad. Oh, by the way, there's Bigfoots on this property. We're like, no shit. So, yeah. So, if anybody hunts in West Virginia, Logan won't go to West Virginia anymore and hunt. But if we all go hunting, everybody likes to go to Stonewall Jackson National Park in West Virginia to hunt. And, you know, Manny's like, oh, if you don't think they're not up there, you're an idiot. He goes, you know, you got the Flatwoods monster that roams around Flatwoods. And if anybody goes to hunt in West Virginia, and you're from the southern parts of West Virginia, once you leave Charleston, you have to go through Flatwoods to get to Weston. And Flatwoods has the Flatwoods monster. So it's like, I haven't been back because I broke my back. I was going to go this year, but COVID had lockdown, so I plan to go back next year. Tristan plans to go back. Jeremiah's going to go back. Levi's going to go back. But nobody else is going back. But if they go back, they're going to go hunt in West Virginia because they think it's a national park, public hunting, it's safe. But yeah, that's a story. I give you the short version because I'm not putting a lot of information in. But yeah, that guy that he called, I can't say who, because the non-disclosure that he signed with Maddie, but it ruined my reputation of who I thought this guy was, and this guy's a real piece of shit. Real piece of shit. Really rude.
So who was the guy?
Can't tell you. I really can't tell you.
Can you write his name down and let me see?
Yeah, I'll write it down. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, you say something, Maddie's gonna sling your ass to the wall legally.
Well, them?
Him.
Well, I'll say them because I know what show he's been on, but wow, I would not have ever guessed it was him.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him. I actually thought about contacting him about my Bigfoot encounter in 1991. But after meeting him in 2017 on Maddie's property, he can go f*** himself. I won't, no. I'm just like, nope, I'll find somebody else to talk to. I'll take him to the location and show him where it happened.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's why I won't allow people on his property, these Bigfoot, enthusiasts or these so-called foot, experts. But like Jeremiah says, you can't be an expert on something that doesn't supposedly exist. But
I found there seem to be experts on everything, whether it exists or doesn't exist.
But yeah, this guy, he ruined it for me. I really liked him and his YouTube stuff and his Bigfoot show and all the other stuff he's done for these other Bigfoot shows. Yeah, I'll never watch him again. I would love to be able to say his name.
Yeah, we can't say his name, but yeah, that shocked me too, seeing who it was. But in West Virginia, which we've discussed in other, if you haven't seen the other videos yet, check them out. But in West Virginia, well, at least I can't say all of West Virginia, but they don't call them Bigfoots either. They call them something else, don't they?
Depends what part of West Virginia you're at. They either call them the wood boogers or the mountain boogers. Where my family's at from Boone County, they call them mountain boogers or the booger. I always thought they meant boogeyman. No, it's an 8-foot fucking hairy creature that roams their mountains.
Yeah, for those who don't know, that in our very first video where that's mentioned about. So that's what I find interesting about Bigfoot. With all the encounters and all these, if you watch these shows, maybe not the show, well, I can't say it now, but anyway, the main point being is a lot of sightings have taken place. Places have given it its own name. Some are skunk ape, some are hairy man, the hairy man in the wood. So it's, now we got the wood booger or the...
They also call him the grass man in Ohio.
Right. So they got all these different nicknames, but they don't exist. So, at least that's what some say. Don't ask Levi.
Yeah. Some say, don't ask Levi. The funny thing about this whole story, and, it was Chief telling Richie. He goes, I gotta say one thing about you. And Richie's like, what? He goes, you're a hell of a shot. Your grouping is pretty good. And he's referring to the grouping on the window. And Richie's like, oh, that's so fucking reassuring to hear that.
That's the best part of this video, that even though it was not a prank on Richie, but yet it happened to Richie, so it just makes it funny.
Richie's so deserving of everything.
Yeah, it almost makes me want to hear Richie talking about it. So we've already done a few things with videos with Richie, and here he hasn't mentioned that one, so it might be why.
He won't, because he got scared the shit out of. I mean, he was scared, and he gets pissed off because it made him look bad. And this is why he's like, you all don't believe anything I say, but this proves what I said was true. He gets pretty pissed off when you talk about it. More pissed off than the voice.
Does Richie know that a Bigfoot expert came out and didn't believe the story?
Oh, yeah. He got even more pissed off about it. He's like, let me know who he is. I'll go pay him a visit. I was like, no. He does not know who it is.
But he'd probably be less afraid of Richie with Richie's new voice.
Richie's like, you should have, when your private jet took him home, you should have had the pilot crash it and eject out. And he's like, it's not that kind of private jet. He goes, I know. I'm just saying. Richie doesn't like talking about it. Well, not saying he doesn't like talking about it. He gets very adamant and pissed off. Like, it happened. And it did happen. I mean, they still to this day kept the window. They've replaced the window, but right there above that bed, it's called Richie's window. And there sits in a frame the window with the beautiful grouping of 9mm shots. I mean, all my friends are pretty good shots, but the military guys, especially Jeremiah and Richie, they're damn good, accurate shots. Richie's a captain in the Army, so they usually have a lot of sidearms, and he's pretty lethal with it. But that's that story. So
yeah, another interesting story, and if you enjoyed that story, as you said, we have many more to tell. So please like, subscribe, and share, because the more likes, subscribers we get, the more videos we're going to keep on doing. And we still have that one that happened to Sebastian in 1991, which is actually, I can honestly say I've never heard a story like this. So, but that's one for the future, but we've got to get more subscribers before we even delve into that one.
And to let the viewers know that when I tell that story, I will do it on camera. I will have my identity concealed, but I will do it on camera because I will have to show visualizations. And just for the record, I passed polygraphs on this story. Just saying.
But just saying, but we'll find out. You'll get to hear the story eventually, unless something happens and we just stop doing videos, but we just got to get some more subscribers.
Fact or fiction, truth or lies, you decide. Thank you for watching Dravo Vane.